Question of the day: what is your favorite comic book storyline? Period. That's the question, or question mark. Because today we're talking about Marvel HeroClix or HeroClix from Wizkids, X of Swords. Now, admittedly, let me just stop right here, the video intro level. My favorite run of comics, probably besides The Dark Knight Returns, is the Jeff Johns whole emotional spectrum. Ethan Van Sciver, Ivan Rice, who was the other one that did that? With Blackest Night, all that, Sinestro Corps War. That is my favorite run of comics, period. Love it. So, what's your favorite run of comics? Because today we're taking a look at another one of these board game style intro variants to HeroClix. You walk into a store, you see this, you buy it as a board game, you go home and play it as a board game, a skirmish style board game, and then you find out, oh, wait a minute, there's a whole world where I can play this with my favorite characters. I can play Donatello versus the Ultimate Warrior. Literally. All kinds of characters. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite comic book run period is, and we'll talk about it. Because right now we're taking a look at X of Swords. I'm at Gen Con, you're at Gen Con probably, saying hello. Although if you're watching this, you might not be at Gen Con. Come by the Dice Tower booth and say hello. Because today we're talking about X of Swords, HeroClix miniatures game from Wizkids. All thoughts. Alright, so here's the content for X of Swords, plus the play-at-home kit and then some of the stuff that you get in the booster bricks and booster boxes. Some great miniatures in this set. First of all, I want you to look at the facial detail right here on Storm. Let's see if it'll zoom in. Here, come on. Just incredible facial detail here on these sculpts. Really, 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 really good stuff. Wolverine, a bit of a weak point, but that's not the worst. But these sculpts look really good. Now, in the play-at-home kit, you also have Pyro, which comes with this great fire effect. When you hit somebody, you can put this on someone and they'll take penetrating damage. We're going to talk about all that in a minute, but it's a really nice piece to have that you can add to a character's base. This is what you get. The main addition here, if you've not played HeroClix before, I'm going to give a quick overview. You can watch some of the other videos I've done showing you more in depth, but I will talk about everything. The rulebook does an incredible job now. There is no better way. When I got into playing HeroClix, they weren't doing these board game style things where you play the scenarios and play the characters. It was just skirmishes. This does such a better job of being a rulebook of how to play. In fact, it even gives you kind of ideas of how to use the characters themselves. It shows you how HeroClix is even made to play, you know, what each thing means on the dial, because essentially what's going to happen is your character's dial down here will show a certain amount of values. What's showing is what that character has that round. The color corresponds to a certain power. So if it's red, you'll have flurry if it's on the foot section. See? Then you'll click it until it says KO, and that's when you would lose that character. Damage, range, all of it's here. Everything is explained. The rulebook is just really, really, really good now. And that's not always been the case. You also get these really nice dice that come with it. You also get some A and B side character cards. And the reason that matters is for most of the scenario stuff, you're going to play the A and A side. The B side's a little bit more competitive if you want to play them more in skirmish type battles, which is the majority of what HeroClix is. You're going to get some pogs that are scenario specific, which will play out in the different scenarios over here. Depending on who wins and who loses, you'll put different characters in play. Plus, this new mechanic, which I'm really excited about, because a bunch of these are in the booster brick, are tarot cards. And the rules for these are, now in the scenario that we're playing here, the game that we're playing of X of Swords, you just get one at the beginning of the round and it sits there and it does something. So it's, for instance, this one says, when a character uses charge, they modify their speed +2. Normally, charge, you'll half your speed value, move across, and then hit. You normally can't move and attack unless you have something like charge or running shot. This allows you to speed up further. And so these kind of things will be in play. Now what's cool is though, in these regular game of HeroClix, you can have a deck of 5 to 12 of these, and every round you'll flip a new one up and have that power. But it's a two-edged sword. See what it did there? Because it gives the other player the ability as well. Really great sculpts. The one thing I'm going to ding it for yet again, and maybe it's because these two sets kind of came out pretty close to each other, the board art here is just not great. It's a little bit bland. Whereas the one that came in the kit is really, really good. This is what I'm used to, are these really, really nice maps. Now they're paper, yes, I'm aware, but trust me, you don't mind when you're playing. You can put a piece of plexiglass down, it's great. Hindering terrain, elevated terrain, starting areas, all that's on here. It's all explained. I will say in the final thoughts some things about this set specifically, but amazing components in this set, specifically right here. So one last thing is the powers and abilities card. Now if I do this, it looks daunting, but your character's never gonna have all of this. They're gonna have, at most, a couple of these colors at a time. But it does explain it all so that you can know what each character does, plus the handy guide inside the instructions. That is Marvel X-Men X of Swords miniatures game for Wizkids. So that's it. That's how it plays. First and foremost, let's talk about art. Obviously, the game looks great. Give or take a couple things that I'm going to knock it for. The miniatures, top notch. In fact, like I showed you with Storm, the facial features of these are so much better than they ever have used to. Again, at tabletop height, you're not looking super close, but when you brought it up to your eye, you went, ooh, they're really looking like this. Whatever they've done to fix the eyes and the hair is just tremendous. These look amazing. Now, I will say these look a little bit more static. They're not doing as much stuff except like death and famine. Shoot, it's escaping me. They're doing stuff. But like Storm is just standing there. Wolverine's just standing there holding a sword. Magic is just standing there. And yet they look more lifelike because of what they're doing with the micro sculpting. To me, it's just amazing. So what I don't like is yet again with the, I don't know if it's because these two sets came out back to back with What If and this, the boards look so bland. And I don't know what they're doing with that. And I hope they fix it because I showed you the Pyro, the one that came in the play at home thing, the together at home. That looks great. But the ones that come in the box is just like, it's not there. And if it's me, I'm going to put the effort and the time into putting the better looking game like maps in the box so that people who are casual players go, oh wow, this looks good. For me, when HeroClix, when I play it, the maps, the paper maps themselves, they look like you took a comic book and you zoomed out, you brought the camera straight up and looked down. That's what they've always looked like. And the paper maps do, even the one that comes with Pyro, but the ones that come in the board game box, it's almost like you looked at a scholastic version of a Marvel graphic novel that's been scholasticized. Then you pull the camera out and look down. I don't like that. Not the biggest thing in the world because the game plays so good. HeroClix is the best skirmish game in my opinion. Better than Unmatched, better than Crisis Protocol. It's better than Legion. It's better than Imperial Assault. I would rather play HeroClix than any of those skirmish games. You hear me say that. That's a big deal because those are very highly rated games. However, the map is such a key thing. If you go back and look at Imperial Assault, you look at those tiles. Yes, they're a pain in the butt to put together, and these aren't. Seeing it look good is what I eat with my eyes first. I play with my eyes first typically. So seeing that, I really want the maps to come up in these. The miniatures are great. The powers, the abilities, the explanation of the game is great. I really do think this is the finest, best way to get people into playing these games. Now, what I'm going to also... This is the most subjective ding I've ever given a game. This storyline doesn't resonate with me. I don't know it, so I don't care about it that much. Whereas What If, absolutely loved it. Where some of the other ones, Wonder Woman, love it. I would love to see, instead of kind of doing these last 10 years of comics, which admittedly haven't been great. You can't point to one of the stories in the last 10 years and go, see, this is as good as Blackest Night. This is as good as Green Lantern Rebirth. This is as good as Civil War. They just don't exist, in my opinion. But I would like to see one of these boxes, of these kind of miniature game starter boxes, of like Blackest Night, of the Sinestro Corps War. You could so easily do this because there's nostalgia value there. People love that era still. It's still one of the best selling eras. Or go back and do Crisis on Infinite Earths. Go back and do Infinity Gauntlet. I would love to see kind of that older stuff get a retread because it's what people love still. So all in all, this is a great intro in the game, especially if you love X-Men. If you don't love X-Men, I would still go What If over this just because of who the characters are in that. But all in all, this is a good way to get into the game. So I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to come by the Dice Tower booth, say hello. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Bryan. Until next time, we'll see you.